Coming up this morning on the Dattitude podcast. What? Come at me, bro. For years, there's been this ugly black bird in my freezer taking up space. It seems like I've been talking about it since episode 1 of this show. Then suddenly, on Saturday morning, the birds were squawking outside, and I thought it was some sort of bird party. Little did I know, it was the day the crow was to be released. He has certainly served his time, and now we'll serve him on a platter to a certain podcast host whose record is no longer, his perfect record is no longer intact, and no longer will I be able to say 0.0 with a straight face. Yes, my friends, Derek Carr is retired, and I've come to face the music, which I will do starting now.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? You heard that last part, by the way? Did you listen to the words this time? Or at least the way he thinks it is? Because what I think it is ain't worth jack. Not today. No. You got to do it on a Saturday morning. You know what I heard on a Saturday? I woke up this morning. You know what I heard out there? You know what was out there this morning on Saturday? I didn't even have time to go to a racetrack. I have to go buy you bet smug. The crab had dust on it. No wonder why our coffee tastes like crap. Now I got to eat crow too. I guess I got to go through the spiel here. This is Dattitude, episode number 372, presented by Evangeline Securities for a special Saturday edition. Saturday, what? Those of you who clicked the little bell probably said, what the hell? Saturday edition. That's right, May 10th, 2025 is the day that Jim Derry eats crow. Mark it in your book. Can't wait to read the comments this morning. I am your host. You know who I am. I don't give a crap. 35 years, whatever. 0.0 years on the sports media scene. That's how many years I've been doing this. 0.0 years. Gabe's here this morning. He woke up. He couldn't. He's going to come help feed me some po' boy. He'll be on later. Yeah, I don't care. Whatever. Subscribe to Dattitude. I don't give a damn. Whatever you want to do. Click the little bell. Sure. Give me a like. I don't care. Whatever you want to do. Roast me, toast me, whatever it is. You know how to be a part of the show. I'm just, you know what? I'm preparing myself. The body blows this morning. When I saw the text, the first person to send me the text this morning was my broadcast partner and my good friend, Jim Rapier, who hardly ever text me just stuff like this. But he sent me the note from the Saints first, and I should have cut it out and put it on here, but I didn't. But it was straight from the Saints, and I don't know why my phone's going off. My phone's somebody's trying to talk to me. So it was a letter from the Saints, and it's basically, the headline read, Derek Carr retires, or whatever the hell it said. In fact, you know what? I got it up here. I'll read it to you live TV. Getting thrown curveballs this morning. Derek Carr, New Orleans Saints quarterback Derek Carr announces retirement. And I'm like, first thing I thought is today April 1st? No, it's not April 1st. And I'm thinking, if he was going to retire, would this really come from the Saints like this? And then I'm talking like 30 seconds later, the phone started blowing up. I mean, blowing up. Everybody, UBN, I think, was next. Rainy Cajun texted me. A couple other people texted me. It says, I'll just read it. In late March, while ramping up his preparation, we'll do it in our man versus machine voice since we're not going to have a man versus machine today. This is all about Saints. In late March, while ramping up his preparation for the 2025 season, Derek experienced pain in his right shoulder. It was his first time throwing a football at significant volume since recovering from both a concussion and left hand injury sustained during play on December the 8th, 2024. The Giants game? Derek immediately contacted the Saints medical team. Something still doesn't smell right. Okay, I know. I'm wrong. I get it. Doesn't smell right, and it doesn't. I'm telling you. Although I'm wrong, I'm like 88% wrong, okay? There's the 12% the part that's right doesn't make the Saints any less than apt. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into all the comments because I can't wait. I have not looked at any. I purposefully left that screen off my vision, and it's not in the line of vision. I'll get to it in a minute because first I got to read you what's really important. At least for me. It ain't important for you, but it's important for me. It might be important for some of you. It's that I still have a job. At least right now, I still have a job, I think. I wonder if my boss woke up this morning like, Derry's an idiot. I mean, seriously, I probably would. I woke up and said, I'm an idiot. Before we get to the rest of the show, let me tell you about our friends at Evangeline Securities. Of course, Evangeline Securities. You see that little thing up there next to the crow? Evangeline Securities isn't eating crow. I don't even know if I'm supposed to tell you this, but I know Nick is a happy man this morning. Nick Braden is a happy man. I can tell you. Again, I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. I hope I'm not betraying any confidence because Nick feels the same way that about 85% of you feel. So I'm not letting any cats out of the bag. I hope it's okay to say that, Nick. Of course, they're a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. And just as importantly, Evangeline can help you figure out what that business is worth. If that's you or someone you know, it's time to reach out to Evangeline's founding and managing partners, the aforementioned Nick Braden and Ron Hemel. Yeah, they will start by scheduling a complimentary evaluation. I think they just got a call from Derek Carr, as a matter of fact. I don't know which office it was from, whether it was on Porter Street or in Lafayette. From there, Derek Carr will be well informed to begin to make the decision on if he wants to proceed whatever business he's got. Maybe he could sell his podcast for like $2. I don't know. What happens after that? Well, we'll fill you more in later in the show. In the meantime, you can check them out at www.evangelinesecurities.com on the Saturday morning. Okay, let's get to it. Let's face the music. UBNs first. I should have come out in headgear. I don't have any. I guess I got my Drew Brees helmet somewhere. Mel wants me to put some hot sauce on a crow po' boy. No, I'm just going to eat it like it is. I'm just going to eat it. Yeah, I'm just going to eat it. I might eat them a lot. I mean, I can go outside and just grab one and squeeze it. Darryl Romero, good morning. Great program. I'm the best. I think, you being facetious. I actually think you're being for real. Look, the worst part of all this is, I don't know if you saw this, that yesterday I ran a short, a 2-minute, I think it was 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Why I remember that it's 2 minutes and 12 seconds, I have no idea. But I ran a short basically saying, and I'm not going to show it here. You can go find it. I'm not going to erase it. We don't do that here. Other podcasts do that. They try to wipe their slate clean and don't let people know they're an idiot. No, we're fine. I'm not going to get them all right. I'm wrong. But anyway, so yesterday at about, 3 p.m., I posted a short on YouTube and on TikTok and on Facebook and on Twitter. I put it everywhere. I was so proud of it. I put it everywhere. I normally only put them on YouTube and TikTok, but I was so proud of this one. I put it on YouTube. I put it on TikTok. I put it on Twitter, and I put it on Facebook. Basically telling people, hey, haters, guess what, haters? Derek Carr is going to be, this is all a bunch of malarkey, and Derek Carr will be playing football for the Saints in 2025 and, eat it, basically. Guess who's eating it this morning? Chad Gage says, no matter what they say, according to reports, Carr took a classy way out. He did it in working with NOLA to be post-June. Yeah, I have not read, I've got to be honest. I don't know the situation of the salary cap. It will help. But it's not going to, Gabe's looking it up. Gabe has some salary numbers. So he is going to help the team. He is going to help the team. That won't help any of you, be nicer to him, by the way. You should be. And I'm going to go along and say this again. I'm going to say the same thing I said before. I'm wrong. I'm not sugarcoating anything. There's no sugar in my coffee, by the way. I'm not sugarcoating anything. I'm wrong. However, doesn't change the fact on what the Saints have done, and now they got to go out of their way. Derek Carr still got paid. He's going to do him a favor and quote unquote favor and help him here. Not really a favor in the grand scheme of things, but the Saints are still inept for. If this happened on December the 8th and they didn't know about this and they redid his contract, they're still inept. That part of it I'm right about. Right? Dale says, enjoy the Crow Po Boy. We'll see. Sean wants to know if I purchased it. No, it's been sitting in the freezer. Aaron Smith. Oh, thank God. Thank God Aaron Smith is here to thank you. Thank you, Aaron, to tell me that Derek Carr retired. I would have never known. Thank you. That is the news of the day. Who knew? Man, wait, I got to change my whole. Gabe, you got a new script for me? Aaron Smith just told me Derek Carr retired. Okay, man, a new era is upon us. I can't wait. Well, you know what? I hear you. That's probably more for Monday's show. But yeah, that's a big part of this. It's definitely a new era. There's no question now that this is a new era. No matter what happens, when you get a new quarterback, when you lose, when your quarterback leaves, even though he was only here for 2 years and only played whatever it was, I don't know, do the quick math in my head, 24 games, something like that. It's a new era. That's true. You'd be anxious here for the comments. John Carter, good morning. Sort of. So what veteran quarterback, Sean Hurst asked, should they sign for a lack of experience in our quarterback room? You're not the first person to ask me that this morning. 27 games, Gabe says. By the way, I'm going to give you the same answer, Sean Hurst. I'm sure you're not just asking me. You're just asking it out loud. So what veteran quarterback should they sign? I'm going to be straight up. I was so wrong about this. Why would anybody ask me anything? Obviously, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. You know, there's one thing about, look, I'll say this like in all sincerity, of being out on a limb where no one else is. And I'm not going to mention any names or any shows or whatever, but one of the shows that there are about 5 or 6 shows that I either watch on a regular basis or watch every now and then just to kind of see where their heads are. It doesn't really affect what I do or whatever, but especially when it comes to the Carr situation. So remember I was telling you that there were some podcasts who basically were completely dismissing it, that there was any chance that Carr was coming back. And then there were some that were like, wishy-washy, like, he's probably not coming back, whatever. And then there were others that, well, just don't know what the hell's going to happen. I mean, the ones that were saying we don't know what the hell's going to happen, at least they were being realistic. But there was one podcast in particular that had been saying almost no chance, and then kind of changed. The last week or so, they kind of changed their opinion on it. They kind of moved the chances up. It had nothing to do with me. I'm saying anything to do with me. But I think people started thinking what I was thinking. But look, when you're out on a limb all by yourself, there's probably nothing better than if you end up being right. But when you're wrong, like I was wrong on this one, you sit there thinking, when you get this notification, you're like, how the hell am I going to explain this one? I mean, you just got to take it, right? You just got to eat it. I don't know who that daddy's going to be here today or Big Sean's going to come in. But I know there's a lot of people out there are happy. Richard Palmisano's got a picture of Drew Brees as that's his picture on Facebook. Drew Brees. It's small, so I can't really tell who's with him. I'm assuming that's not you with Drew Brees, Richard. But you don't even have a picture of yourself. You got a picture of, again, it's so small, it just looks like Drew Brees and a female. What a way to start off a Saturday morning. Who dat? It is for a lot of you. Chad, I appreciate you taking up for me, my friend, asking me how am I wrong. I said if he was healthy, he would be the starter. Nobody ever said retiring. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie, not even a little bit. I thought that I said 60%. Okay, this is what I said to be clear and to be truthful. I said there was a 60%. I never said 0 points. By the way, I got a couple texts, by the way, that said I said 0.0. So I joke about that. That's your son. I'm sorry, Richard. I'm sorry. It's so small on my screen. I completely apologize, by the way. It's like it's like when I say minuscule, it's a tiny square on my little monitor here, and it's in the bottom left corner of my little monitor. Even I look small in my monitor, so I apologize. But I said 60%. It would be Derek Carr. I said 20. What did I say? I said 30% Tyler Shuck, 5% Spencer Rattler, and 5% some other veteran that came off the waiver wire. So I never really said 0.0 when it came to that. But let's be honest. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. Not even close. I was wrong. I'm gonna tell you how I'm gonna tell you how wrong, and I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna take it from everybody, including from Big Sean. Sing it, baby. Na 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 na. Hey, hey, goodbye. I'll sing it for you. You were right. But this is how wrong I was. In fact, I probably internally I don't know if I was talking myself into the fact that, man, when you're right, you're really going to have fun with this. I think that's where I was. This whole week, I've kind of been like, man, you're going to be right about this. Because the reports that came out this week about the fact that he didn't want surgery. That was the report this week, right? Was it Jane Slater, whoever it was that came out this week and said he didn't want surgery? That was the word this week. And then I believe it was Rappaport that was on the show the other day. It just sounded like, okay, he's going to avoid surgery. That means he's coming back. To me, of not doing surgery, I never for once thought about retirement. I don't think anybody thought about retirement. I don't think anybody, not a single person came on in the comments, not a single show that I watched, not a single quote unquote expert. Nope. So nobody was really right in the grand scheme of things. I don't think a single person had retirement on their bingo card. No one. So that being said, when I heard the reports this week, all I kept thinking about was, man, when you're out on a limb and when you're the only person that's going to be right, you're going to be able to take a tour. You're going to be able to milk. I might have like 5 shows a week for like 3 weeks just milking this thing. People are going to hate me because I'm like milking it. And never thought about retirement. Now it makes complete sense, right? So who's right now? Ain't me. Aaron Smith, okay. Bye, Derek Carr. Booker, it's my time to shine. To shine what? And Gabe, by the way, Gabe is telling you, Big Sean, Merry Christmas. It's Christmas in May, baby, for a lot of you people. Sean, what is the salary figure with this retirement? Again, we're working on this. Gabe's got it. Gabe's gonna come on in just a minute. When I get through this first initial batch of comments, Gabe's gonna come on and tell us what he found out. It's gonna help, but I don't think it's gonna help. It's not gonna help. It's not gonna be a huge help, right, Gabe? Which is no, because they've already given him most of the money. It's like we talked about before. And it's the reason why I thought the reason why common sense told me that Derek Carr was coming back. Again, putting retirement out of it, because retirement makes complete sense. I just never factored that into the equation. But the reason why it makes complete sense now or before or whatever, it's because the Saints weren't going to eat that money voluntarily. They were so inept, they redid this contract, not knowing that because I promise you, it took them by surprise too. They don't redo this. They don't restructure this contract this way if they think Derek Carr is going to retire. They don't give him all the money in a signing bonus and then, put off however many million in the future. K-Man says we saved $30 million. I mean, I don't think that's that much, right? Again, Gabe will come on in a minute. I don't think it's that much. The point is, regardless, no matter how much it is, you don't restructure that way if you think that this player is retiring. So don't let anybody fool you. Don't let anybody pull your chain and tell you anything. Saints completely botched this thing as much as I botched talking about it. Leonardo says Derek Carr's retired, so who's the next starter? I mean, it's got to be Shuck. I can't imagine that it's anybody but Chuck. I'm sorry. I know there are still Rattler lovers out there, not nearly as many as there were 9-10 months ago, but there are still a lot of Spencer Rattler lovers out there. I just don't, again, I'm not going to sit here and say 0.0 about hardly anything. You know, I didn't say 0.0 about this, but I'm going to be backing off. I'm going to change percentages on things. I just can't see it being anyone but Chuck. It just doesn't make sense. Barry says, good morning. What does this mean to the Saints cap? Again, we're going to get to that. Everything, that's all that matters. It's really not all that matters. Everything else is static. To show you how sure I was that Derek Carr was coming back last night, and this is the story of my betting life. Last night, I don't remember exactly how much, but it was a significant amount of my off-season money. I have off-season money in my gambling accounts that I refuse to do anything with. At the end of football season, if I have a surplus, I take out X amount, I leave X amount, and that's what I have for the whole summer. And that includes my NFL futures and whatever. And last night, I'm like, you know what? I've done okay the last couple of weeks. Let me take some of this excess money that I got and I say excess money, it wasn't a ton. But I've been wanting to make some NFL futures bet. And you know what? Derek Carr coming back. Not only am I going to look like a genius, but I'm going to put some money on the over 6.5 wins, baby. That's like gold. That's sure money. And it was plus 135. I'm like, they're giving me free money. Yeah. We're going to have a dumpster fire somewhere. Next thing, I got the crow video. I'm going to have the fire. The dumpster fire is going to come on Monday. Monday's going to be a fun show. Monday's going to be even better with Mono E Monday. I mean, we're doing this today, but not everybody knows we're doing this today. So some of the regulars, they won't be here till Monday. Corey Terrio's here. He told me Derek Carr wouldn't be starting. UBN says that who that daddy ain't here because he's dancing naked in the streets of NOLA. Man. I don't even know who that daddy. I mean, we've never met in person, but an image of an older gentleman dancing naked in the streets. Well, what am I saying? It wouldn't be like the first time anybody saw that. Yeah, if you joined late, I didn't even have time for a racetrack this morning. I got the old Bayou Bets mug. A lot of dust on it. Dale's wanting to know, now that Carr's a former Saint, I can have him on the show. It would be a great episode. If he wants to come on the show, he's more than welcome. I'm going to do something I don't normally do. I joke about being Ron Burgundy, putting on a comment that I haven't read, and it's a long one. James Riley, you mean he retired from the Saints? He wanted to move on and steal another NFL money bag. I don't know what that means. Derek asked for his release. Loomis said no, then gave him they didn't ask for his release, by the way. Then Loomis gave him the rest of the money, just like he can't stand being pressured in the field. He decided to take this announcement over the week. I'm sitting here telling you how I'm wrong. So if I can eat crow, y'all can stop being dumbasses, okay? That's the dumbass comment of the day. Can't stand taking it. Doing it on a Saturday doesn't mean what is wrong with you? I got to get to Gabe in a minute because he's got to be going earlier this morning. What is wrong with y'all? This is definitely not a time to. I get it. You hate him that much. You don't have to hate him anymore. He's gone. You don't have to hate him anymore. He's gone. Jesus. Corey Terrio says he thinks that was the game plan the whole time. That's why they drafted Tyler. No, I mean, obviously, by the time they drafted Tyler Shuck, they knew something. That's not the point, Corey. The point is they should have known something when they restructured his deal. And if they did, that makes them even bigger idiots. You don't let him go out of the building, especially after whatever happened in the Giants game. And then we're finding out more happened. You know, and another thing, I'm going to take up the Derek Carr here for sure. I don't care whether you like it or not. People make fun of him for that play in the Giants game. I mean, there are people. Would anyone have made fun of any other quarterback besides Derek? Would they have made fun of Derek Carr? They would have made fun of Drew Brees if Drew Brees ended his career, let's say in that last season, okay? Let's say in the 2020 season, playoffs, whatever it is, doesn't matter what it was. If it's 4th and 2, and he rolled out to his right, and he saw he could get a first down, and he's trying to dive for the stick because he's trying to bust his ass for his team. Some of y'all are still giving him grief and laughing about that. If that's how he hurt himself, if that's how he goes out, if he never plays another down in the NFL, whether he does or doesn't, if he never plays another down in the NFL, it's because he hurt his shoulder diving to get an extra yard or two for his team, which was the New Orleans Saints, and y'all can't stand him. And that's how he goes out. A lot of y'all, I don't care how he goes out as long as he goes out. But that's how Derek Carr went out, busting his ass for a team and a bunch of fans who don't care if he ever plays again, or probably don't care if they ever see his face again. That's part of this whole thing I have a problem with. That's a part of the problem that I have. Good morning, Kyle Sherman. Let's see what else we got. Jay Tucker Rafferty says, nobody saw this coming, period. I mean, nobody did. Nobody could see retirement coming. I mean, obviously, a lot of people saw him never playing with the Saints coming. There's no questions. You know, KC Paul never really answered this question. Just tuning in. What are my thoughts on Carr's retirement? Now that we've got through the old, oh, woe is me and I was wrong crap. And again, we're going to have comments when I have Gabe on. Again, Gabe's got something to do this morning. So, or this afternoon now. I actually do too. So this is not going to be a regular hour and a half show. We're probably only going to be on for about another half an hour. My thoughts are that it all makes sense now. And the fact that none of us could see this. No one could see it. Not the experts, obviously not even the Saints could see this, really. I don't know if Derek Carr saw it coming. So it's shocking. It's shocking in a lot of ways. Whether you thought Derek Carr was coming back or didn't, I don't think anyone could say they're not surprised. So that's my thoughts. My thoughts on as far as how it affects the team. And again, this is something we'll get into more on Monday. We're going to talk more about the what now on Monday, because that might even be the title slide. The title slide might be what now, even though I think I did that not long ago. But my thoughts are that this changes the dynamic of this team greatly. I think you go from, and I know, again, I get it. A lot of people, this is what they wanted. You're going to get what you wanted. We're going to see what happens. I think what happens now is you get a rookie quarterback and you see if the intel on your rookie quarterback was right or wrong, or I guess somewhere in between, because we're going to find out in a hurry. We're going to find out in a hurry if Tyler Shuck is NFL ready. I mean, that is definitely one reason why you go out and draft. If there's any advantage of drafting a guy that's 26 years old to be a rookie, it's this. It's that he's older. He's more mature. Hopefully that'll translate onto the football field. We'll find out. So that's my thoughts right there. I'm going to bring in Gabe now, and I'm still going to go through some of these comments. Gabe, just your thoughts real quick. But first, tell me what you found out as far as for the Saints via the cap. What can you find out? Because I was too busy ready for the show to actually be able to do it.
So people are right. Derek Carr is saving the Saints $30 million. That $30 million isn't necessarily toward the cap. He saves $30 million in fully guaranteed pay this season, and by the looks of it at Spot Track, his years from 2027 to 2029, where he was on the cap due to his restructure, are now voided, but he is still on the books for 2026.
Which is $30 million. What's the total on that?
He is a $63 million cap hit next season.
See, I was saying $59 million the whole way. So
I don't know.
I kept getting corrected by other people that it wasn't that much. So I was right there. So
done. Bye.
Wait, what happened?
I just banned someone from the comments.
Oh, okay.
I'm just not going to have you going after. I've never seen you in here. I'm not going to have you going after commenters in a rude way.
Oh, 100%.
That's not what we do here.
Yeah, no, it's not. All right, so 63 million dead cap space for 2026.
That I don't have confirmation as to whether or not that is official post-retirement. That is just what
I'm going to tell you this. Dattitude family, and everyone else. Okay, I know there's going to be a lot of. I'm going to say this. I'm going to be straight up with y'all. There's a lot of things I don't think we can 100% know. Mm-hmm. We are going to. Obviously, I'm going to spend time over this weekend. I got a lot of things to do today, but tomorrow on Mother's Day, as much as I can, I'm going to spend time going through who dat T-Mama. Welcome. I am going to go through this, and we'll try to have a definitive number for you on Monday, okay? So I can't really do this live. Again, I wanted to come on the air. I am broadcasting for VSN this afternoon. I have potentially a doubleheader. I definitely have one game at 4 o'clock, potentially two, and I still have prep to do for it. But I thought it was important that I come on and look. Again, when I'm wrong, I'm going to tell you I'm wrong.
Yeah, so Rocky's saying that it's not a cap. Too tired. I'm not sure because I don't think any of us can know for sure right now because
the Saints insiders will know
what the Saints do. Yeah, they will. But we can't know right now. Like,
correct.
Especially just looking at these websites. But here's the thing: what do the Saints do? Cap when they restructure and when they open up all of these calls. I don't know all the intricacies of the cap situation to know for sure. But Mike Florio has reported that Carr will keep his $10 million roster bonus that he earned in March. The Saints are not seeking recovery of the remaining allocation of his $28.5 million signing bonus in 2023. And Carr could have undergone shoulder surgery, not played this year, and pocketed the $30 million that the Saints would have owed him and fully guaranteed pay this year. However, by retiring, he decided to give that money back to the Saints.
So remember, here's another thing.
For anyone who wants to bash on Derek Carr, he is saving the team $30 million.
Here's another thing we were right about. And again, look, I'm going to take this bash and I'm going to tell you where we were right too. Remember, Gabe, we had the long conversation, and not you and I'm talking about with the Dat family here, about how it just never made sense that he would go under the knife unnecessarily. I mean, you're not going to go under the knife on that. So here it apparently is necessary, and he still doesn't want to go under the knife. He would rather say, you know what, I'm done with football than go under the knife and do this. And I can totally appreciate that.
I don't blame a 34 now? I don't blame a 34-year-old for not wanting to miss a full season.
Neither.
And then at the age of 35, have to go through all of the rehab and all of the struggle and all of that comes with getting ready for another NFL season at that age. I will take a victory lap here in two things that I said. I didn't see retirement. I'll say that. I don't.
None of us did. None of us did.
So I'll take a victory lap in saying that I said a few weeks ago that Derek Carr played his last game for the Saints. I was right there. And someone in the comments a few weeks ago got into it with me and said that Derek Carr could play until he was 40. That is not true anymore. Derek Carr did not play till he was 40. It's the little victories. And Jim, as much as you have to eat crow this morning, one thing that I do sometimes is I take receipts. And I had texted you when the Derek Carr shoulder news first broke on April 11th, and we were talking about quarterbacks next season. And you said, quote, he ain't getting surgery. And you were right.
I never felt like he wanted surgery. I mean, again, I still feel this way. Okay. I know that a lot of people that disagree with me, I felt like all along that he wanted to come back here. Okay. I know people don't believe. And look, we may never know. And even if he comes out and says, I wanted to go back to the Saints, people aren't going to believe him, whatever. The Saints are never going to tell you anything. They're never going to tell you what they really knew, blah, blah, blah. Big Sean said, go ahead. You can show it if you want. Show whatever you want.
He said, he basically just agreed with me. He said Carr wouldn't play another snap.
So my point is that I think that Derek Carr wanted to come back and was willing to do what, But one thing that the fans are right, I'm going to give all the Dat family, all the haters credit for this, okay? Because I think you were right about this, and this is the part that I didn't see, and if I would have thought about it, it would have made sense. But the part about the fans saying that he realizes how much the fans can't stand him, at some point, if you're thinking about, okay, my choices are I can either get shoulder surgery and come back to a fan base that can't stand me and I'm going to get booed out of the Superdome, or I got enough money to live off the rest of my life and buy however many $500,000 Rolls Royces I want and just go off and have fun with my kids and not have to worry about it anymore. If those are my only two options, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to get surgery. Why would I go get surgery for a fan base who doesn't give a damn about me? And I think that's probably what makes the most logical sense at this point in time is that I'm not going to go get my arm cut on for a bunch of morons who can't stand me. UBN says, Carr retires. Jim was wrong. What's next? Rat starts and goes 12-5. Whoa. You want to talk about Crow Po Boy? I'd have to have a smorgasbord.
Into my thought here.
Okay.
Is there a lot of people who are celebrating the Derek Carr retirement?
Of course. And I don't look, if you hate Derek Carr, I don't blame you for celebrating, by the way.
Here's the thing. Be careful what you wish for. Because for those who do not know, the New Orleans Saints now have the worst quarterback room in the NFL.
It's zero question that's true.
That is not a feeling. That's not an opinion.
Zero question that's true. Yeah, that is definitely a fact.
The Saints, there are 32 teams in the NFL. The New Orleans Saints are the only one who, at this moment in time, do not have a single win in the NFL in their quarterback.
What does Minnesota have? I don't even know. And I'm asking, huh?
5.
Who's in their quarterback?
Sam Howell. I don't know who their third.
Sam Howell.
Sam Howell is 5-13.
Minnesota's isn't very good.
Minnesota's is not very good.
What does Tennessee have?
Tennessee has.
Oh, they have Will Levis.
Will Levis. Yeah. So whatever.
He's got like three wins.
Much.
No.
I don't think Brett Rypien has won anything. So there are a few that are close, but the Saints are the only one with 0. They also have Brandon Allen and Tim Boyle, so they have a few in Tennessee.
Yeah, a couple other comments here real quick, and I know you got to run this.
So here's the thing. No, wins are not a quarterback stat. I completely agree with you, KD. But here's the thing.
When you got 0 of them.
When you've got 0 and you've got 3 quarterbacks on your roster, I get Tyler Shuck as a rookie. The other 2 have started 8 games in their NFL career, and they have no wins. So not only do you not have experience, you just don't have guys with wins on the roster. And that wins are not a quarterback stat. I completely agree with you.
All right.
But when you've got 0 of them, it matters.
Gabe, I know you only got a couple minutes. I want to end this show because I have so much to do today. But I wanted to come on and just talk to the Dat family just, again, with the shocking news this morning. And I have literally probably 40 to 50 comments that I want to show. Just give me your thoughts. I mean, you were right about some things too that I didn't see. We've had this discussion so many times. I mean, at least the good news is we don't have. I mean, we got to talk about it for the next week or so because it's going to be forefront in everyone's mind, and it's what we're going to be talking about. But soon, very soon, probably before the end of next week, we'll be turning our thoughts and our sights and visions towards what's going to happen now. But just your opinion on what you've seen.
So my opinion, and actually to show a comment because T Mama perfectly encapsulates what my thoughts are. This is a forced rebuild now.
Yep, it is.
It doesn't matter what you think. Jim, I know you don't like to lose, but I think
it's definitely a forced rebuild.
You know as well as I do, you got to buckle up.
Yep.
Because this is a rebuild.
Fanboy podcast were right. I was wrong. Yep.
There are no two ways. This is a rebuild. Whether the Saints wanted to or not, whether Mickey Loomis wanted to bite the bullet and rebuild or not, it's happening.
Yeah.
You've just got to look at it now as you hope Tyler Shuck can be the guy that you think he is when you drafted him. And if he's not, Saints are going to have a top 10 pick next season, and they're going to be in the market for a quarterback. So So the one thing I did want to run through, because while the Saints don't have any wins on their current roster, I do not think they will go into the season with these three quarterbacks.
I don't think you can.
I think Jay Kaner is absolutely going to be cut and replaced by a veteran.
Correct.
And so here are the names who are left. Aaron Rodgers, which I think we all know is going to Pittsburgh.
That ain't happening.
If he plays. Here are the other names that the Saints need to
we
take.
went through this the other day. Let's hear this again.
Yeah. Tannehill, Wentz, Bridgewater, Huntley, Ritter, Beathard, Driscoll, Stick. I don't think Driscoll and Stick and even Beathard are anywhere on this list. I don't think Ritter should be considered. So then you're looking at Huntley, Bridgewater, Wentz, and Tannehill.
Okay, and I don't know that Bridgewater wants to really play.
I don't either. So I think Tannehill might be your best option.
I think you're right, because Cousins isn't going to be an option either. So
no,
I know some people are saying Cousins. He'll be released post June 1. If they're not going to be able to trade him.
Probably.
He's going to get cut post June 1. So honestly though, I say it's not a possibility. I don't know if he'd want to come to the Saints, but he probably could be here for a song, because he's still going to be. He gets paid post June 1. A big chunk of his salary is going to be paid by the Falcons. So
here's what it is, and I say that they're going to bring in a veteran quarterback. None of these quarterbacks are going to start for the Saints.
No, it's going to be
none of the veterans are going to start. They are coming in.
I agree.
For experience.
Yeah. No,
I think going to be. You buckle up. It is Tyler Shuck season, and if that train gets derailed early, it's more time with Spencer Rattler.
I don't necessarily believe that. I think that. Man, no veteran's going to come in here and say, okay, I'm going to be the third quarterback. That's not happening.
Case Keenum did it in Houston.
That's very, very rare. Certainly Teddy Bridgewater is going to say, I'd rather Teddy Bridgewater would certainly rather go coach high school football and do what he did last year and say, you know what, when my high school football season's over, if the Lions want me to come sit around in the meeting room and put on a jersey for show, then I'll do that. But I don't see a Teddy Bridgewater. And to me, he's the only one that's even intriguing. The rest of them, if it's someone like Ryan Tannehill, I think he's coming in just to continue his football career. Coach
and
wear a jersey.
Ever see field for the Saints. I think Carson Wentz could be a number 2.
Carson Wentz probably still has an unrealistic dream that he can be a starter in this league, I bet. I don't know. Anyway, that's something we talk about next week.
I looked Kansas City last season, so
yeah, we'll talk about that in the next week.
So those are my thoughts. I think Team Mama hit the nail on the head. This is a forced rebuild. It's a forced tank, if you want to call it that.
Yeah,
it's the reality now. So be careful what you wish for. Those of you who wanted to rebuild, I know I was in that camp, so let's buckle up. We will talk more about it on Monday. I'll see you then. Sounds good. All right, bud. Thanks for coming on Saturday morning on no notice. All right. Gabe Henderson, everybody. All right. I want to go to the comment stream again. I am going to do my best. I need to make this no more than an hour and 10 today. I know we could probably be on for 3 hours this morning, or 4 hours, maybe even. And y'all can just tell me how wrong I was, and I could just take it all morning. But at some point, we got to get moving. Some of these comments are super old, so I don't know even who's still here. But I want to show people that are still here that were in the comments. Not that I'm ignoring anyone. We're gonna have Are we gonna start? Are we getting a veteran quarterback? We just talked about that, Merlin. I think Gabe is right. I think we do get I think the Saints do get a veteran of some sort. See you later, Gabe. I do think that there's a veteran of some sort come in this room. I don't know if I agree with Gabe that he comes in basically to be the third string quarterback. I'm not dissing on Spencer Rattler when I say this. Not at all. Don't take this the wrong way. I think that it seems to me, and you know how I am with common sense. Carr retiring makes common sense now, but it's not something any of us saw. I just think that they would bring in a veteran to be the second string quarterback, and to be a coach in the locker room. Kyle Sherman says Kyle retiring should remove the tag everyone had on Carr for being selfish, and they're not going to do that. Kyle, I hear you. I agree with you, but they're not going to do that. Vanek Douglas says his thought is they knew before the draft. I don't put anything out of the realm of possibility, Vanek. But if they knew before the draft, why do you restructure like that? That's a huge gamble. You're gambling, okay? If you knew this before the draft, you're still thinking he comes back.
I mean, you're talking about before the draft and not before they did the restructure. It's possible. Again, these are things that we're going to get in as we go along. What else we got here? Oh, Jerry's here. Oh, happy day. I knew you would be happy. He says a new era begins and he's feeling good about it. Is the crow still defrosting? No, man. I went out and got some fresh crow. You didn't see my fresh crow this morning? This is what we went out and got. Yeah. Deborah Robichaux wanted to know, am I using mayo or mustard? I'm just like a weatherman. That hurts. Deborah, you must not know that must not watch the show on a regular basis how I talk about the weather. I consider myself Nash Roberts Jr. Jerry says he just watched Ross Jackson before minicamp. They were saying Carr retired. Talk about shocked. He was. I think we all were. Dustin McCann says, very disappointed in Derek Carr. We're not as good without him. That's not saying much, however. Again, I disagree, but I don't know. Merlin says he'll believe Carr will come out of retirement next year after surgery. I completely you just have the surgery. You're not going to go because now that you're saying you're not going to have surgery and you work all this out with the team, you're not going to go have surgery next month. No. If you decide one day to have surgery, if you're Derek Carr, you're not going to do it for some time. You're not going to. No, it's done. He's done. He's done. Sean says it's crazy how some are crying for him to be gone, and some of those same ones are mad he retired. That's because they hate him. They hate him. You're not going to give anybody any credit if you hate the dude. You're going to laugh and say, "Oh, see, I was right. Now I hope his shoulder hurts for the next 40 years. I hope he wakes up in pain every morning." You think I'm joking? They got a lot of morons who actually are thinking that right now. If you're one of them, you know I'm right. You're a dumbass if you think that. Seriously. JJ says it's going to be in mourning now. My golden boy is gone. You're a numbnuts too. It's going to be in mourning. You know what we're going to be doing? We're going to be sitting here. It's going to be a whole different story in October when we're sitting here and the Saints are 2-7. And no one's going to want to admit that they'd be probably 4-3 or whatever they had, 2-7. I guess they'd have to be 5-4 if Derek Carr was here. No one's going to want to admit that. It's the truth. Derek Carr makes the difference between, and I don't care. You've never seen Tyler Shuck play in the NFL. Don't need to. He's a rookie quarterback. Rookie quarterback is drafted in the second round in a class of quarterbacks that he would have been about the 8th or 9th best quarterback. What did Michael Penix do when he got in last year? He was okay, but he struggled, and he's probably going to struggle again in his sophomore season. I think eventually Michael Penix can be a really good quarterback. My point is, there isn't a single quarterback in this draft, including Cam Ward, who was drafted first, who's better than Michael Penix, who was like the 5th or 6th best last year. Okay, 4th best, whatever. So you got to go all the way down to the 40th pick of the draft, and Tyler Shuck, where does he rank? The difference between Derek Carr and Tyler Shuck is the difference of at least bare minimum 4 wins. I know it doesn't work that way when you're talking about the betting world and the win number. Of course, the number is 6.5. So that, I mean, if Derek Carr was here, it wouldn't be 10.5. I'm talking about in the real world. Doesn't matter. Speaking of doesn't matter, Lewis Mathern says, doesn't matter how we got here and what side we're all on, it's over. Let's move forward and hope they hit with Shuck. I agree. And that's where we're going to go Monday, probably. We'll still talk about this, but we are going to talk about moving on. And I'm going to hope I'm wrong again. I hope Tyler Shuck or Spencer Rattler, whoever starts. I'm not saying I'm 100% right on this, or a veteran or whoever it is, comes in. And I hope this team wins 10, 11 games next year. Hope even 9 wins would at least be fun. At this point, you could say probably even 8 wins might be fun. It means you're going in the right direction. You're getting banned, dude. Bye-bye, JJ. Nice knowing you. We're not going to have moronic talk, okay? You can say I'm wrong or you don't like Derek Carr or whatever, but we're going to be respectful. And if you're not respectful, you're not going to be here on this show. You're just not going to be here. Sorry. That's how we're going to work. I got to be straight up with y'all. I love that everybody comes on here to comment. And, you know, back when we restarted this show, we hit the reset on this show and reset on what we're doing here a little over a year ago. I was begging for people to come on for talking. We only had probably 8 or 10 or 11 regulars. Now I got hundreds. If you're a moron, we're just going to say goodbye to you. We don't need you anymore. Didn't really need you then, to be honest, but I'm definitely not as tolerable as I was. But if you're not respectful, if you're just an asshole, you're just not going to be here. That's not how we work. That's not how we roll here. The Rook 10 says, dude, we cannot like the player, but still like the person. Amen. 100%. That's kind of my point this whole time. Even if you don't like Derek Carr, you can still like the person. Maybe you don't, maybe you do. Even if you don't like the person, still be respectful. That's the whole point. And I'm way back. These are like 20 minutes old. Samuel Lindsay says, this is why I don't get players' number. It's all about the black and gold, the fleur-de-lis. You mean you don't get the player's number on your jersey or whatever, on the jersey you buy? I get it. I completely get it. I do, but usually what I used to do back before my days of when I was covering the team, I mean, I haven't bought a Saints jersey in, I don't know. The last Saints jersey I bought, I can tell you this, was I did buy a Breeze jersey, and I was in news at the time anyway, but I bought a Breeze jersey before they won the Super Bowl. I did buy a Breeze jersey before they won the Super Bowl. And again, I was in news, so I could be a fan that year. Let's see. Where else we got? PL Mac. Nobody cares. He's retired. The Saints are rebuilding. It's not raining today. Cheers, Saints fan. Again, I hear you. Now, see, I don't mind dancing around like that. That's okay. You're not being a disrespectful douche. You're just, I mean, it's kind of disrespectful, but at least you're not being a total douche. I don't care if you say that. Eddie O'Keefe says, you're exactly right about him diving for the first down. A better line would have helped him a lot, but they were all hurt. They were. Charles Schulman says Tyler Shuck starts in 2025. I don't see how he doesn't, Charles. I just don't. The Northern Saint says Carr never had any hoodat in his DNA. You know what? Today, I don't think I can say you're wrong on that. And I know it makes a huge difference. There's a lot of people who come in here and they get it right away. And I will look, one thing that, again, y'all are right about, and I wasn't necessarily wrong about it, just haven't talked about it. But Tyler Shuck and going out into Drago's and not going to Chipotle, I never talked about that, but it did make sense. It did make a difference. When you go to Chipotle as your first meal and you make a kind of a big deal about it, which he kind of did, that's kind of crappy. Tonka Ton 3 says it was the beginning and end of Carr's career, unfortunately. I ain't disagreeing with that either. I mean, look. Big Maj 504. What's up, fellas? Great beginning to a Saturday, huh? Yeah, for some people it is. Ron Hendrickson. Carr did the right thing. He took less money from the Saints by retiring instead of hanging around and banking 30 or 40 million. Now I will say this. I'm going to repeat myself. I want to spend part of tomorrow before Monday's show. I'm going to understand exactly what this means cap-wise and exactly what Carr did for the Saints, didn't do for the Saints, and what it means for the Saints cap-wise going future. Maybe it means what we're saying it does. Maybe it doesn't. Gerard Semino, hello. Thanks for joining us on a Saturday. Nelly, what up? Thanks for all we do. All we do is tell you we were wrong. Yep. Barry, I do not have the Holy Cross Brother Martin game. I have Hannon and E.D. White. Game 2 this afternoon at 4 o'clock for live in Covington on Varsity Sports Now. Game 2 of the Division 2 Select Series. K-Man, hallelujah. The Rook says the Saints cap space, again, this is completely unofficial, is now $43.8 million. I mean, if that's true, they can go out and sign some people. K-Man wants to know if this is a Sean Payton retirement situation. Might be. Steve Bolden says Drew was injured 3 times in his last season. Carr was injured more than once. Why would a $1 million quarterback want to consider a team that can't predict them? I will say this, Steve. The O-line has definitely taken a step forward. I'm just saying. But another thing is a veteran quarterback is going to come in here and probably know he's not starting. That's another thing. All right. Booker says, I wouldn't be surprised if he takes a page out of Carson Palmer's book and plays for a different team next year. He can't. They're going to play for can't. He retired. He's on the Saints reserve list. Again, I will look into this, but he can't do that, Booker. He can't come back and play. He's still, quote unquote, basically property of the Saints. Just because you retire doesn't mean you can say I retire and then a week later or after June 1 or whatever. I mean, he will be a post June 1 cut, but I don't think he can do that. I will look into that. Put it that way. It basically goes in the books as a post June 1 cut. However, I don't think that he can do that. Where are we at here? Again, we're getting close to, if you got a comment to get in, now's the time. Because we're gonna have to wrap it up fairly soon. Big Sean says, honestly, Rattler would have to beat Shuck outright in order to win the QB1 job, being that Shuck is Moore's guy. I mean, it's not just that. Yeah, that's a huge thing. Yes. But yeah, I mean, you're talking about a guy who was drafted in the 2nd round as opposed to a guy that was drafted by the 5th round. So not only was Rattler drafted by a different coach, but Rattler was also drafted in the 5th round and went 0-6. It's not. It had Spencer Rattler gone like 3-3 last year and shown a lot even more promise. I'm not bashing Rattler. Don't get on me when I say this. Had Rattler gone 3-3 last year and shown promise and gotten better towards the end of the season. My biggest problem with Spencer Rattler was that not even just his record. Y'all want to talk about you haven't seen a lot of the Rattler lovers just say you haven't seen enough. Okay, well, here's my thing. I don't think he got better. I didn't see any improvement from the first time that I saw Spencer Rattler to the last game that I saw Spencer Rattler. If you go back to the Tampa Bay game and you go watch it, and I've actually watched this game like 3 times now. The first half, I'm like, wow, okay, he looks better. He's still throwing to his first read. But what happened? Tampa Bay made adjustments. Okay, you're not going to throw to your first read. So they put more pressure on the ends and covered his first read. What happened after that? Well, the Saints folded like a tent because Spencer Rattler just couldn't see. He couldn't read it. He couldn't see what they were doing. So that was the problem that I had with Spencer Rattler. I'm not trying to bash the guy. I'm not saying there's no chance he'll ever be a real quarterback. I'm just telling you that's another thing coming into this. Again, had he improved throughout his time, given a chance to be a starter, I think he'd have a chance now. I think he's fine as a second-string quarterback. But I also agree with Gabe that I think that there's a good chance that the Saints probably bring in some veteran somewhere, someone that's willing to be a backup and help teach a rookie quarterback. And then Rattler becomes probably the 3rd-string quarterback, kind of like he was last year in the grand scheme of things, and Jake Haener goes bye-bye. We'll see. Where else we got here? PBM says Carr being booed says more about the fans than it does about Carr. Like, I think now we got to move. I don't know who said it before. I agree. Y'all know how I've been, quote unquote, excuse me, accused of being a Carr lover or a Carr apologist, Carr whatever. We just got to move on now. That's where we are. I don't think we need to point fingers at fans or hate or whatever. It's still going to come out. There's no question. It's going to come out. People are going to say how much they dislike. It is what it is. But let's move on now. Okay. That's what this show, I hope this show can do. It's not just for me to tell you that I was wrong and you see the crow there and me eating the crow po' boy. And I'll play it one more time for you. There it is. I ate the crow. Okay. But let's be, you know what I'm going to say the same thing I said last year about this time. Okay. Those regulars who have been with me for longer than a year will probably remember this when they say it. They might not remember it ahead of time. But once the season's over, and I said this about Dennis Allen last year, and look, don't get me wrong. At no point in time was I ever a big Dennis Allen fan. Okay. When the season ended, after the 2023 season, I blasted him more than probably anybody else did. I thought apologizing for Dennis Allen, Dennis Allen apologizing was one of the most moronic and silly things that we've seen in this franchise. It's one of the top 10 dumbass things I've seen in this franchise over the course of the 56 years that I've been on this earth. However, once the season was over and this team said, we're moving on with Dennis Allen, which it was clear what they were doing in the offseason. I'm like, okay. Let's be positive. Let's hope the franchise was right and they go into next year, and let's be positive in the offseason. Let's give everything the benefit of the doubt. And that's kind of where I am right now. I hate this Derek Carr situation. Not just because I was wrong about thinking Derek Carr was coming back, and now we're definitely going into a season with someone with no experience playing quarterback, with a rookie head coach. It screams 3-14 or 4-13 or whatever. It screams that. I don't want to see that. But that's where we are now. And so we have to kind of keep it, we have to hope. Let's get rid of I'm not saying everybody has to be positive, but let's get rid of the hate for Derek Carr now. That day's going to be gone now. Let's look forward and say, okay, let's hope Tyler Shuck is exactly what Kellen Moore thinks he can be. Or let's hope Spencer Rattler is that damn good, and a lot of fans are right, and then he just beats out Tyler. If he beats out Tyler Shuck, that Spencer Rattler is that guy, or whatever. Or whatever veteran they bring in really helps this quarterback crew. Whatever it is. That's where I'm at right now. And it'll be more of that on Monday, because on Monday, we're going to talk more about, again, the future. Of course, we're going to look at the salary cap situation. I'm going to have a better feel for it. I'm going to understand it better. Didn't have time to do that this morning. And I'm going to believe my Saints insiders, and I'm sure they're going to have a lot more on it. Probably already do. NOLA.com/sports/Saints. I'm going to look at it. Can't know right now. But we're going to go, and we're going to be positive. Ronald Rapphorst, excuse me, he's not going to be positive. He said we're going to win 3 games. Okay. Oh, my goodness. And, guys, another thing in the comment stream. I don't want anybody. This is why Gabe banned somebody earlier. Let's not go at each other, okay? Y'all can come at me all you want, but don't go at each other. That's another way to get banned. Stop going at each other in the comment stream. That's not how we're doing this here. Mally Mal says, Teddy Bridgewater, a trade for Jameis. I mean, I guess at this point, you can't rule out a trade. Somebody might be wanting to get rid of a backup veteran quarterback. Maybe. Sean says, this ain't keeping it positive. I'm not saying you have to. That's not being disrespectful to give me your opinion. Sean says the Saints will be drafted in the top 5 next season. Maybe. All right. Casey, what's up on a Saturday? You know what's up. Brian Sherrard says, I'd bring in Bridgewater as a leader/mentor. You couldn't bring back anyone more of a leader/mentor than Teddy Bridgewater. That I can promise you. So if you want to do that, I'm all about it. If you want to find a way to get Jameis Winston back here, I'm all about that too. A-Town says, let the Rodgers showcase begin. No, I'm not going to. Look, I got to strike no chance from my vocabulary. Not even because I don't see it happening here. I just can't fathom that a rookie head coach would want to put himself in the middle of that circus. I just can't. Larry Bro says, I thought from day one when the Carr story broke last month that it was all smoke and mirrors and gaslighting for the draft. Does this news say more about Carr or Mickey Lomas? I think both. I mean, if you want realism, okay, you don't honestly think that Derek Carr thought from day one that he didn't have hopes that he wasn't going to come back, right? I mean, he knew his shoulder was bad when he left here. I can promise you that he probably thought he was coming back. Again, at some point, you got to wonder. If you're deciding whether to come back or not, my shoulder's messed up. Do I want to go play for a team whose fans can't stand me? And y'all were right about that part of it. Y'all were definitely right about that part of it. Again, a lot of these comments, y'all talking to each other, y'all got me all confused. Tonkaton says they will be 10-7 and officially now the dark horse to ride in the sunset. Tonkaton, I hope you're right, because last night, and I don't think I finished my statement on this, or maybe I did, I don't know. I'm old and I don't remember. Last night, 10 o'clock. Oh, I did say it. I'll put a nice little chunk on the over 6.5 wins at a plus 135. I don't even know. What is that? Let's see if it changed. Let's do this on live TV. Let's see if it changed. Yeah, we're doing this on live TV. Going to DraftKings as we speak to see if the Derek Carr news has changed anything. I gotta find it first. NFL. Gotta find. Oh, did they get rid of it? Did they take it down? No more bets. Here we go. Oh, they did take it down. It's not in here right now. Oh, no, there it is. That's why you don't do this crap on live TV. New Orleans Saints. It was 6.5. Over was plus 135 last night when I bet it. And the Saints are off the board right now. They have taken the Saints off the board. You cannot bet it. There you go. You cannot bet the Saints right now. Interesting. Jeff Haspel says they might win 5 to 6 games. That means I would lose. Let's see what we got here. Trouble Mathis, who has been interesting. I'm being nice, Trouble. Aside from giving a stupid contract restructure, which we both agree on that, Mickey was right to keep saying, if he's healthy, he starts, forcing him into this. I mean, what did you want him to say, though? I'm not taking up for Mickey because the Saints have completely screwed this up. I mean, that's kind of where we were. That's what I was talking about, like fooling everybody. This goes back to what I was talking about when all this happened. If you go along the timeline and how certain things happened when season ticket renewals were due. That's one of the biggest problems I have with all of this crap. If you go back and look at the timeline, when are season renewals due? When did news come out? Coincidence? I think not. Gerard Simino says Saints need a veteran quarterback. Big Sean says Carr made this choice because the Saints no longer wanted him. I don't believe that at all. Nor would other teams take a chance on him given his pattern of behavior. That's not what it was. Y'all keep saying that. Y'all right about a lot of stuff, but you ain't right about that. One thing, again, I've been telling you here for an hour how wrong I've been. But one thing I will tell you that I'm right about, and I will die on that sword if I'm wrong. Maybe it'll come out one day, maybe it won't. Probably won't ever come out anyway. But a dude's not going to go under the knife and let somebody cut into his livelihood. For what? Because y'all hate him? His only option was to come back here. I think his intention from the get-go was, you know what? I mean, he kept wanting to come back last year when he didn't know how hurt he was. He knew he was hurt. At the end of last year when the Saints weren't going anywhere, the dude kept wanting to come back, and they told him no. Darren Rizzi told him no. He kept wanting to come back. Yeah, I'm taking it for him right now. Absolutely I am. Dude, but if that's the last play he ever makes, diving for that first down or whatever he was diving for, he dove fighting for a team whose fans can't stand him. And you want him to go under the knife? Greg Raging Canes is just glad he's gone. I mean, I know a lot of y'all feel that way. Team Mama, Carr blindsided the organization. I don't care if he did or not at this point. I mean, Big Sean, it goes back to what we were saying. You wanted him to go so bad, and now you're like blasting him for retiring. The dude can't win. It's insane, dude. It's insane. It is insane. It really is. It's insane. Gary Thomas Bradford says him retiring will impact the team, but however, they still need a vet quarterback. His question is how much salary cap space do they have now? It was earlier said, again, these are all things we will talk about on Monday. I will have answers for you, official answers for you on this, but I'm told, I don't know if this is true, but I'm told it's $47 million as of right now. But it's a big hit for next year. The good news is, though, if what Gabe was saying is true earlier, there's no more hit for 27, 28, and 29 and beyond, whatever it was. All right, we getting to the end. Jimmy Rosen, I'm jumping in late. Have the Saints made a statement? Yes, they made a statement. It was the first statement that I saw. In fact, I read the first part of it. Let's see. It's not, the Saints don't really say anything except they say this. Eventually, this is straight from the press release. Eventually, medical scans determined objectively that Derek sustained a labral tear and also had significant degenerative changes to his rotator cuff. Okay. He may never have known this right off. Since that time, Derek, his representation, the Saints medical team, and outside medical experts have worked together to determine the best path forward. The Saints are saying that they worked together the whole time. I don't know what to believe and not to believe anymore. Surgery was an option, quote, jeopardizing the entire 2025 season, yet there was no guarantee Derek would return to the level of strength, function, and performance of play to which he was accustomed. Upon consultation with his wife, Heather, Derek has decided it's in the best interest of both his family and the Saints organization to retire from the National Football League. Quote, this is from Derek Carr from the press release. Upon reflection of prayer and in discussion with Heather, I've decided to retire from the National Football League. For more than 11 years, we have been incredibly blessed, and we are forever grateful and humbled by this experience. It's difficult to find the right words to express our thanks to all the teammates, coaches, management, ownership, team officials, and especially the fans. You don't mean that. Who made this journey so special. Besides maybe like the first 3 games, maybe one time the Saints fans made it special. Quote, he says, your unwavering support has meant the world to us. Yes, he said that. Quote, your unwavering support has meant the world to us. Oh, my goodness. K-Man says change is good. Michael Lester says, I just find it highly suspicious, inconvenient. The retirement announcement comes the day after our season tickets needed to be paid for yesterday. That's what I've been screaming at y'all. Nobody's listening to me. I know I'm wrong about a lot of stuff, but I ain't wrong about that. You think that's a coincidence? People bitching about, oh, he's just putting his tail between his legs and crawling out on a Saturday, on the weekend, when no one, they didn't notice. You could do it on a Saturday night at 11:30 p.m. during Saturday Night Live. You could do it at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. You think people aren't going to notice? Michael Lester, nail meat head. Don't think we won't be talking about that either. Don't think we won't be talking about that. All right, Big Sean, stop it. Rattler did better than Carr. I don't know what you're smoking wherever you are. Whatever it is, it's really bad for your brain. I would stop. That stuff is bad for your. If you think Rattler did better than Carr on any day, 0-6, my friend. 0-7 if you want to count the other game that he played in. Derek Carr won 5 games with this lousy team that they had last year. And besides the first 2, they were with the same scrubs that Spencer Rattler was playing with, that he went 0-6 with and looked terrible. You want to fire me up? That kind of shit will fire me up. Dead wrong. Kenneth Fouché, did he have an offensive line to protect him? How could you have seen him play? Good ball. I have eyes. Y'all still back in the rat. Y'all going to be back in the rat. When Chuck starts 2-6, y'all still going to be screaming, rat, baby, give me some of the rat. Y'all still going to be screaming it. He's not going to play, dude. Agent Smith says, as a lifetime Saints fan, I'm excited. Never was a Carr fan before he joined us and think we're going to be better without him. He's always just been a subpar starter anyways. The numbers say you're wrong. You could make an argument that he was an average starter. You could absolutely make I think he was better than average, but you can make an argument that Derek Carr was an average starter. And here, I'm going to back him up here. Yeah, call me whatever you want to call me. But you cannot make an argument that he was, quote, subpar. You can't. Because somebody's going to come out of the woodworks and say, give me some number about wins. Probably the same person who told me, you can't judge a quarterback by win totals. It's off. There he is. He is here. Who that daddy made it? He's finally finished his dancing down Poydras Street. Has anyone seen Derek Carr? We saw him in a press release this morning. Brian Petone, I'm assuming you mean Colin Kaepernick. Signed Colin Kaepernick for a 1-year deal. I understand. I think Barnum and Bailey is coming here in the summer. If you want to see a circus. How long's the dude been out? Let me look. How long has he been out of the league now? First of all, he is 37 years old. Oh, no, he can't be 37 years old. He got to be older than that, isn't he? Yeah, he's born in 19. He'll be 38. His last season was 2016. Yeah, that's what the Saints need. Saints need a quarterback who hasn't played since 2016 and is 38 years old. We already got a rookie who's 26. Michael Lester says we're going to have the second easiest schedule in the NFL. This will be a repeat of the 2000 season. We will not attend games and win. That's positive. That is absolutely keeping it positive, brother. I appreciate it. Lance Dobart, who dat, my friend? Let's see. All right, who dat, Daddy? You haven't been here. I'll show you another comment for you. He says in January when he bought a house in California, took his kids out of school and moved, you knew he wasn't coming back. Just saying. That doesn't mean jack. It really doesn't. There's lots of Saints, I promise you right now. I don't know where they all live, but they don't all live in New Orleans, I promise you. They don't. Lance says, and Lance is no Carr apologist. Come on, Mouse. Work, Mouse. There it is. He says, I feel for this guy and their heartbreak. If this decision gives them peace, I'm happy for them. But why was he seeking trade or release in March if he had a degenerative shoulder issue? Smells fishy. Who says he was? The same experts who never saw any of this coming? I wasn't right. But there isn't one thing out there that says he was seeking a trade or release. Maybe he wasn't. You ever thought about that? Go back to the Saints. What were the Saints telling you? Nothing. Why were the Saints telling you nothing? Well, what was yesterday again? What was due yesterday? Forgot. Oh, they wanted you to pay money? Oh, okay, that. Not saying, just saying. Deb Blaine says, prayers answered, didn't fit no all along with Dennis Allen. 2 huge mistakes made by the front office. Might not be the only mistakes. KJ Vinny says, I think we need a new general manager. I think you're in the majority on that one, my friend. Jeff says it's a cool mug I'm sipping from. Yeah, I told you I couldn't get my didn't have time for my racetrack. I like to sleep in on Saturdays. Didn't get to sleep in this morning. Had to make my own coffee. I know y'all are all upset about that. Paul Laporte, again, we got about 5 more minutes. You want to get your comment in, now's the time. We got 5 minutes left, and I know I'm way behind on these comments. Paul Laporte says, I don't understand why everything was such a mystery with the Saints. I think as it comes out more and more. Okay, I got to show this one, Big Sean. I apologize. I'm doing all kinds of wrongs and apologizing this morning. Jimmy, you're either misunderstanding or only seeing what you want to see. Very possible. Absolutely possible. I'm not mad that Carr retired. I actually gave him kudos on how he went out. I said it was ingenious. Touche, my friend. S. Callie, where you been? I miss the show so much. Glad to be back on. Glad you're here. I don't know where you've been. I guess you're working. But I'm glad you're back. Saint for life. Where you been? He is gone. At the end of the day, it didn't work out. And retiring saves Saints like $32 million some money this season and next. Saints will still have to eat some money around $35 million. Again, we're going to go into how much money, and I hate reading it so fast. You're probably saying I don't even understand them. Monday, I'm telling you, Monday show live at 11 a.m., especially for those of you who are new to this show. And the first time you're ever watching Dattitude is me telling you how wrong I've been. Well, good for you. Lucky you. Monday, Wednesday, next week, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, because the schedule comes out on Wednesday. It's usually Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, live at 11 a.m. Central Time on all these same channels. If you haven't subscribed to the Dattitude YouTube page, please do. Earlier this morning and have the heart to really care. But anyway, next week, Monday, live at 11 a.m. It's just me. It's just you. And Gabe will probably be here with us. But I actually have, by the way, this has nothing to do with nothing, but I remember earlier in the week, I told you I interviewed LSU Shreveport coach. I was going to interview him, Brad Neffendorf. They're going into their series at 51-0. 51-0. Yeah, I was going to run that on Monday's show. I got to say it's not going to run on Monday's show now. I may put that segment on somewhere so people can see it if they want. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I feel bad that he went out of his way, and I wanted that they start their regional on Monday. I'm going to have to figure it out over the weekend, but that is not going to be on Monday's show. There's too much going on. Brian Pearson says the Saints are having a press conference about it right now. Okay, well, there you go. We'll definitely have part of that press conference on Monday's show. Jimmy says, appreciate taking time to read the press release. Absolutely. What else we got going on here is, again, I'm about to go off this morning. I got to go do some play-by-play. Richard Mellenschlatter. Silly how people are so willing to bash an athlete that when they were never able to do what that athlete can do. That's the truth. Jason Sykes. Remember me? Absolutely, I do. We made a bet. You were right. I was wrong. What do I owe you? You want a half of my crow po' boy? I haven't eaten it yet. We could put some hot sauce on it. Some Crystal. Tom Trice says, a good running game and a good defense are rookie quarterback's best friend. Who dat? Amen. Everett Cunningham. Who dat? I remember you, Jason. You don't have to scream at me. You don't have to say it in all caps. Tom and Wendy Burris. Bye to Mr. Carr. It may be rough, but a necessary change. S. Callie, well, we welcome you back, Saint for life. Can't wait to hear Jeff Duncan and Eric Asher's take on this. I will be on Eric Asher's show Monday afternoon after my own show. Let's end it with this. Let's make this the last comment of the day. Who dat daddy? You have made a lot of last comments of the day. He wishes Carr well. All he has to say is, bye, Felicia. I'm not going to shed any tears. There's no last word today. That is the last word. You get the last word, who dat daddy. Sort of. Look, I'm going to go out on this note. Again, I'm not just here to tell y'all that I was wrong. because there are, again, some things that I was right about. We're going to talk about it on Monday's show. We're going to talk about Tyler Shuck. We're going to talk about the salary cap. We're going to talk about a lot of things on Monday's show. We're going to let you talk. You guys can say whatever you want. I'll be interested to hear what y'all have to say after a weekend of thought. Okay. And I know the regulars are probably still the only ones that are even on right now. But it is what it is. It's not an option that the majority of us could see going forward. But it's the one that if you look at and common sense makes sense. I mean, will Derek Carr ever play it? It's not 100% that Derek Carr will never play another down in this league. But if one day we go to show and the record goes to show that he doesn't play another down in this league, I know some of y'all are skeptical, and he retired. Again, think about why he retired. You had the choice. Had he been playing for a team that loved him and was counting on him and gave him a chance, maybe he would have had the surgery, maybe he wouldn't. I know the vast majority of the people watching the show right now are glad that he's gone. They don't care why he's gone. Whether he had surgery, didn't have surgery, whatever it is. They're glad he didn't have surgery. If that's what it means for him not to come back. This team, though, is no question going forward. And again, as we look forward, I'm going to try to keep it as positive as I possibly can going forward. But there's no question that starting today on May 10th, 2025, this team is clearly in rebuilding mode. They don't know. They'll never admit that. They'll never go into a podium somewhere. And if they do, I'll show that and I'll eat some more crow on Monday or Wednesday or 2 months from now, whatever it will be. But when you start with a rookie quarterback, you're going into rebuilding mode. And you're going to do it with guys who are at least one guy who probably is on your Mount Rushmore, Cam Jordan. Good chance this is Cam Jordan's last season. And let's say there's a better than 80-20 chance he goes out as a loser. Let's be realistic. Demario Davis, is he going to be gone? Who knows? Tyrann Mathieu probably got one more year left, maybe after this. Maybe not. Who knows? Whatever it is, the rebuilding is just starting, and you have to prepare yourself for this. Sean Payton was able to come in here and take rebuilding to a new level. He took a 3-13 team and brought him the NFC Championship game in his first year, went through a couple of struggling years, and then went to the Super Bowl and won it. But that was because he had some dude named Drew Brees, and he got super lucky on some of his draft picks along the way. Will this team be super lucky with a Tyler Shuck and some of its draft picks and turn this thing over and become the team y'all all want them to be as fast as Sean Payton? It's highly doubtful. But I guess anything's possible in this sports world. Y'all were all right about Derek Carr. The opinions are mixed on where the Saints go from here. I hope it's a fun season. Again, at this point, 8-9 probably would be a fun season, right? It means that they're rebuilding and they were an average football team or just below average. At this point, you got to say you take it. It's too early to make a pick on how many wins they're going to have. We'll find out a lot more when we see the schedule on Wednesday. Where do they have to go? They only have 8 home games. They have 9 road games. We know that much. When do they have to go? Where? How tough is it going to be? I'm going to find that all out during the week. We have so much to talk about on Monday. I thank you all for coming and find me on a Saturday morning into the afternoon. And this will be the last word. Jules Howard, you didn't even know this podcast existed. You're going to subscribe right now. Thank you, sir. Again, you know how to do it if you want to subscribe. I want to thank my friends at Evangeline Securities, Nick Braden, Ron Hemel. They're the top producer on their platform. If you're even thinking about selling your business, reach out to them, www.evangelinesecurities.com. What's really important is not any of this mess. It's the rest of your life. I'll tell you more about them on Monday. We'll talk about Derek Carr. We'll talk about the salary cap, how much it's meant, what it means going forward, how much Derek Carr actually, quote unquote, helped, how much it is what it is, how much we're going to be hurting next year. Does it mean something for later on? We'll find out. We're going to talk about all of that. I know all the regulars will be back. And yes, I'll bring the crow back and we can, one more time for y'all. What was today about? Yep. Me eating crow. That's what it's about. It is going to wrap it up for us. And the first time I've ever said this, I think, on this Saturday. I want to thank today's guest. Of course, Gabe was on to help with a lot of things. And you, of course, you're our guest. You're always our guest. That's what this show is about. Me talking to you, you talking to us, and all one big party. We hope you can join us next on Monday, live at 11 a.m. We'll welcome in, we're going to welcome you in. It's Mono Monday. A reminder to subscribe to our Dattitude YouTube page. Click the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. And you can also find a replay of the show on NOLA.com/sports. Always find a replay of the show there. However you want to find us, the best way to find us is on our YouTube page. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. We will see you on Monday. Everybody have a great rest of your weekend. I think the rain is gone. Maybe that was a sign this morning. There was like some sunshine out there. Maybe that was a sign. Maybe it isn't. Maybe y'all are all right. Maybe I'll never be right again. Maybe I'll be wrong forever, but you'll still come back because you love me. We'll see you on Monday. Take it easy, my friends.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.